Reading inspires people. Perhaps that is why we all originally fell in love with comics and our favorite superheroes. They inspired us to do good, to be better, or rather, to be super. They helped us escape our mundane realities and imagine a world where anything is possible. But what happens when comics inspire the individuals who later make the comics? Ultimately, we get more heroes who are similar to those we may have already fallen in love with. But of course, not too similar, as that would mean lawsuits. A twist may be needed, a unique presentation, maybe a darker or grittier twist for a character, something to make them stand out, something to draw readers in and shock them. In this list, we will be exploring the scarier side of the X-Men as we explore alternate stories and characters who may have been inspired by the strangest superheroes of all. Ready? Let's get counting. Number 10. Troll. The series Youngblood from Image Comics is definitely trolling us with this one. Youngblood is a series about a government-run and endorsed team of superheroes. It explores the idea of a world where superheroes garner celebrity-like status, similar to the series The Boys and X-Statix. The team even includes Vogue, a Russian model who later uses her fame to create a makeup line. Troll is a member who is beast-like in appearance, covered in muscles. Upon seeing him in his true form, one would immediately be forced to call to mind Beast from Marvel's X-Men crew. Because get this, Troll normally is covered in blue fur. Yeah. Though admittedly, he is often seen without it as he shaves his entire body to appear more human. As his name suggests, an actual troll. While also agile and physically strong like Beast, he does not appear to hold the same level of intelligence. Though he once wielded a terrifying weapon, a book that could be used to rewrite one's own history and can tell the future, he lost it in a card game. Wah wah. Someone smaller but just as fierce as the Beast, but with less intellect, sounds pretty scary and dangerous to me. Number 9. House of X and Powers of X. These two new comic series retcon and relaunch X-Men history, and although they operate within the world of Marvel and the world of X-Men themselves, I feel as though they are important to mention. When we talk about comics inspiring people, it is important that we also recognize some of those who were inspired are fortunate enough to do the writing and illustration within the realm of the world that inspired them. How cool is that? When we turn to these new Marvel series, we see at the writing helm Jonathan Hickman, who has brought us a much more daring story when it comes to the familiar motley crew that is the mutant heroes. In fact, he has even reintroduced some heroes that we may have forgotten. The time in which mutants fight for their rights, freedoms, and even for isolation on Krakoa is painted as much more desperate and bleak. Part of this is the beautiful artwork and colors created in combination by R.B. Silva, Pepe Larraz, and Marta Gracia. The writing builds up the high stakes, and if you want to feel that tension and see how ruthless these mutants can get, check out House of X's issue number 2. Number 8. Steeljack. Astro City has changed publishers so many times, I'd rather not list them all. Instead, I'll just say the series is currently listed as belonging to Vertigo Comics. More of a concrete jungle vibe, in this series we have different factions or gangs of heroes in the city. The most similar one to the X-Men being the Astro City Irregulars. Among the characters of the series we find Steeljack, a wannabe superhero who acquired the power of metal skin. Sound familiar? Steeljack is like a permanent metal version of Colossus. Originally, this character was actually a villain in the series. I don't know about you, but I would not want to deal with a villainous version of Colossus in any form. Number 7. Sarah Rainmaker. Coming to us from Wildstorm Comics, now owned by DC, is a Storm-inspired hero. Let's spread some of that Storm love. In the Gen 13 series, Sarah Rainmaker is introduced as one of a group of Gen active teens, think mutants, who are invited to participate in government testing. The group is kept in a prison-like testing facility before they escape. Sounds like some creepy X-Men gone wrong scenario where they get successfully rounded up by the government. Sarah Rainmaker's abilities allow her to control weather, only so far as air and water, though she can also fly and create lightning. So we're looking at a character who isn't quite on Storm's power level, but definitely has similar abilities. Other interesting facts are that Sarah Rainmaker identifies as a lesbian, and that her character was originally introduced as a member of the Native American Apache tribe. Number 6. Allison Hargreeves. Coming to us from Dark Horse's Umbrella Academy comic series, which now also has a Netflix show, we have Allison Hargreeves, also known as the Rumor. This story is definitely a much stranger and darker one than X-Men, in terms of the moods and vibes, and was written and created by Gerard Way, lead singer of My Chemical Romance. This connection is a little more loose than some of the others, especially if we are looking for a huge correlation in appearance. However, when it comes to powers and personality, the connection is a strong one, as Allison resembles that of another famed X-Men and Avenger, and one of my favorite superheroes, Scarlet Witch. That is to say, Allison's powers are that she can alter reality, not using chaos magic per se, but by using the phrase, "I heard a rumor." Anything spoken after those words by her that is untrue ultimately becomes true. Scarlet Witch has also famously spoken aloud some of her changes to reality, only to have them come true, though her wishes are not as connected to the need to speak as Allison's are. Beyond that, Allison is also prone to fits of hysteria and emotional outbursts, echoing that of Wanda's struggle with her emotions and her mental health. Number 5. Toyo Harada. One could compare Toyo Harada of Valiant Comics' Harbinger series to Professor Charles Xavier, save that he is evil. Toyo is one of the most powerful psionics in the world. Again, psionics are kinda like mutants. His powers echo that of Professor X, namely that he is an insanely powerful telepath who also has the ability to control minds, but who also possesses the powers of telekinesis. His goal is to recruit others with superpowers and take over the world so that he can protect it and guide humans into the next step towards their evolution. Yeah, spooky. Number 4. Ripclaw. A combination of Warpath and Wolverine, Ripclaw comes to us from Image Comics' Cyberforce team and series. His origin story resembles a horror story and echoes some of Wolverine's origins, which, let's be honest, all of Wolverine's origin story are pretty much terrifying in and of themselves. Namely, when Ripclaw's mystical Apache powers garnered him some attention from the Cyberdata Corporation, they used him to do their bidding as their agent, after brainwashing him and giving him cybernetic enhancements. Ripclaw is also a member of the Native American Apache tribe, like X-Men's Warpath, and oddly enough, also like our number 7, Sarah Rainmaker. He was granted mystic abilities by the spirits of his ancestors to take on animal-like abilities, similar but different than Warpath's Apache shaman spirit abilities, which he used to defeat the Demon Bear. His long black hair and red accents on his outfit also leave him looking similar to Warpath. Number 3. Silver Banshee. What happens when DC maybe gets a little inspiration from Marvel's X-Men member Banshee? We get Silver Banshee, who I actually think is an even cooler character. These two characters are similar in name and abilities only though. Both have supersonic deafening abilities, though Banshee tends to operate on the lower frequency, while Silver Banshee is perceived as operating on a higher frequency. And her sonic death cry is more deadly. If she can see you and knows your name and you hear her, you are dead. Though their names are also quite similar, Silver Banshee is known for being a villain in the DC world, where Banshee, though controlled by villains before, is usually a good guy. While Banshee is also male, while Silver Banshee is female, he did have a daughter who also had similar powers, who went by the name of Siren, before taking up her father's old mantle, Banshee. Though she has never explicitly been an X-Men member, she was one of the original X-Force members. Number 2. Cyblade. Also coming to us from the Cyberforce crew, we have Cyblade, who looks very similar to X-Men's Psylocke. Although Cyblade's powers are described as being electromagnetic, while Psylocke's are described as being telekinetic, the fact remains that both can use their powers to create weapons, with which they use to fight. While Cyblade is known for her electromagnetic daggers, Psylocke is more famously known for her telekinetic katana, among other weapons. And if you don't think there is some kind of crazy connection between these two heroes, then just look at them side by side. I mean, it's hard to ignore the visual similarities here. And while Psylocke's origin story is pretty frightening, I mean, so is Cyblade's, so ugh. Number 1. Lobo. Lobo actually comes to us from DC, and is stated as being created in an attempt to poke fun at violent and gritty heroes, like Wolverine. What? So there you go. One could argue that he is an even more violent rendition of Logan, as Lobo was also inspired by Marvel's Punisher. He is fond of cigars just like Wolverine and shares some abilities, namely that he is known for being super durable and possesses accelerating healing abilities. He also has a heightened sense of smell, which he often uses as a bounty hunter to help track his bounties. Oddly enough, Image and Marvel have even created parodies of him. A parody of a parody. Wow. Go figure. Thank you for watching Nerd Squad. I hope you enjoyed this list, and I hope you think twice before ever considering something new to be truly original. In fact, some people even suspect that the strangest superheroes of all, the X-Men, were inspired by DC's world's strangest heroes, Doom Patrol. Yeah. What do you think inspired the X-Men? Spark a debate in the comments below. And as always, remember to subscribe, share, and like while you're down there. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host Amanda McKnight, reminding you, as always, to stay nerdy, YouTube.